How to disappear and transform yourself. The Stoic way. He who has a reason to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. In today's chaotic world, where social media feeds and societal expectations constantly pull us in different directions, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected from our true selves. But what if the key to finding peace and purpose isn't about disappearing in the literal sense, but rather retreating from the noise around us and reconnecting with our core values? Today, we will uncover how you can step away from the constant chatter, strip away the layers of societal pressure, and focus on becoming who you truly want to be. Through the wisdom of Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, we will explore practical steps to cultivate inner resilience, embrace solitude, and find clarity in a cluttered world. This isn't about running away or isolating yourself. It's about building a stronger, more focused version of you, a transformation that begins with mastering your own mind. So, are you ready to learn how to disappear from the noise and distractions, to break free from the expectations that have been holding you back, and to transform into the person you're destined to become? If this resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe to Stoic in Your Life, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, the power to change lies within you, and it all starts now. Let's begin this transformative journey together. 1. Embrace solitude for inner transformation. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus. Today we delve into the transformative power of solitude, a concept that might seem counterintuitive in our hyper-connected world, but is deeply rooted in Stoic wisdom. Many of us, especially men navigating the complexities of life between the ages of 30 and 65, often find ourselves overwhelmed by external demands and distractions. Society tells us that our worth is defined by our social presence, career achievements, and the endless race to accumulate more. But the Stoics offer a different path, a journey inward, away from the noise, where true transformation begins. In a world that constantly demands our attention, the idea of solitude can feel foreign or even uncomfortable. However, it is in these quiet moments of introspection that we discover our true selves, stripped of the roles and labels society has placed upon us. The Stoics believed that to truly transform, we must first learn to be comfortable with being alone with our thoughts, our fears, and our deepest desires. This is not about isolating ourselves from the world or withdrawing into complete seclusion. Instead, it's about creating space for self-reflection and growth, finding that inner stillness amidst life's chaos. As Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." This power is cultivated not in the noise of the crowd, but in the quiet of solitude, where we confront our inner struggles and emerge stronger and more resilient. Solitude is not about escaping reality, but facing it head-on. In solitude, we learn to observe our thoughts without judgment, to understand our motivations, and to recognize the influences that shape our decisions. When we retreat into solitude, we gain clarity, a clearer perspective on what truly matters. We learn to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot, a core principle of Stoic philosophy. In doing so, we free ourselves from the anxieties and pressures of living up to external expectations. Instead, we focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This realization is at the heart of Stoic transformation, recognizing that the path to personal growth and fulfillment is found within, not in the distractions of the external world. But how does one begin this journey of solitude and transformation in practical terms? Start by carving out time for yourself each day, even if it's just a few minutes. Use this time to meditate, reflect, or simply sit in silence. Let your mind wander and observe where it goes. Are your thoughts dominated by concerns over things outside your control? What others think of you, or fears about the future? Or do you focus on what you can change, your own actions, mindset, and responses to life's challenges? Journaling can be a powerful tool in this process, as it allows you to track your thoughts and see patterns that might not be evident in the moment. As you become more comfortable with solitude, you'll find that it becomes a sanctuary, a place where you can recharge, reset, and realign with your true self. Solitude also teaches us the importance of self-reliance and self-awareness. In solitude, we confront our weaknesses and insecurities without the distraction of others. This confrontation is not meant to be harsh or self-critical, but rather compassionate and understanding. Recognize that everyone has flaws, and these do not define our worth. By accepting ourselves as we are, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and resilience that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. As Epictetus noted, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Solitude helps us see through these imagined anxieties, offering a clearer view of reality, unclouded by the judgments and opinions of others. Moreover, in solitude, we learn to appreciate the value of our own company. In a society that often equates solitude with loneliness, we must redefine what it means to be alone. To be comfortable in one's own company is a strength, not a weakness. It is a sign of self-sufficiency and confidence, a reflection of inner stability. This self-sufficiency is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It teaches us that true happiness comes from within, not from external possessions or validations. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, wrote Marcus Aurelius. By nurturing our inner world, we cultivate a deep, lasting sense of fulfillment that is not dependent on others. To relate this to our modern lives, think about how often we seek external validation through social media, the pursuit of material wealth, or the approval of others. These pursuits, while momentarily satisfying, often leave us feeling empty and disconnected from our true selves. The Stoics remind us that the quest for external validation is a never-ending cycle that only leads to more dissatisfaction. True contentment comes from within, from knowing ourselves, our values, and living in accordance with them. When we embrace solitude, we break free from this cycle, finding strength and purpose in our own company. So, as you navigate the complexities of modern life, remember that solitude is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is in solitude that we find our true selves, away from the noise and distractions of the world. It is where we cultivate inner strength, resilience, and clarity, enabling us to face life's challenges with a calm and centered mind. The Stoic way is not about disappearing in the literal sense, but transforming in the most profound way, by going inward, understanding ourselves, and aligning our actions with our true values. Take this journey of solitude and see how it can lead to a deeper, more meaningful existence. Remember, the power to transform is in your hands, and it all begins with a single step inward. Let's start this journey together. 2. Practice the art of indifference. Practice the art of indifference. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But when you really think about it, how often do you find yourself getting worked up over things that, in the grand scheme of life, don't truly matter? Perhaps a colleague's offhand remark ruins your day, or a traffic jam sends you into a rage. You might even lose sleep over a social media post that didn't get enough likes. But what if you could change this? What if you could practice the art of indifference the Stoic way and find freedom from the trivial disturbances that clutter your mind? This isn't about becoming apathetic or emotionless. Rather, it's about learning to focus your energy on what truly matters, letting go of everything else. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." This idea encourages us to examine how we react to the things we cannot control, and challenges us to shift our focus to what we can, our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. To better understand this, Think about a man in his 40s, balancing work, family, and the pressures of everyday life. Let's call him John. John is a hard worker, a loving father, and a caring husband, but he often finds himself overwhelmed by the chaos around him. One day, a minor disagreement with a colleague spirals into a heated argument, leaving John frustrated and stressed for the rest of the day. Later, he comes home only to find himself snapping at his children over something trivial. His mood spirals further as he reflects on the day's events, feeling guilty and angry at himself for losing control. But here's the thing. John's day didn't have to go this way. By practicing the art of indifference, John could learn to pause and ask himself a simple, yet powerful question. Does this really matter? This question serves as a filter, a moment of clarity amid the chaos. It's not about ignoring responsibilities or not caring about important things. Rather, it's about discerning what truly warrants our concern and what doesn't. And this brings us to a fundamental Stoic principle: focusing only on what you can control and accepting what you cannot. This doesn't mean being passive, it means being proactive in your own emotional management. Picture yourself in John's shoes. The colleague's remark or the traffic jam is outside your control, but your response to it is entirely within your power. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. How would your life change if you could master this art? If you could learn to let go of anger and frustration over things that don't truly affect your life's purpose? This art of indifference is about finding peace amidst the chaos and focusing your efforts on personal growth, relationships, and pursuits that align with your values. Let's connect this to a modern-day story. Think about the constant barrage of news, social media updates, and the endless stream of opinions we face today. There's a story of a successful entrepreneur who, after years of stress and burnout, decided to disconnect from social media. Initially, he felt out of touch, as if he was missing out on what everyone was talking about. But soon, he realized something profound. His mental clarity improved, his stress levels decreased, and he found more time for meaningful activities, like spending time with his family and pursuing hobbies that brought him joy. By practicing indifference to the noise of social media and the pressures of always being in the know, he reclaimed his peace of mind and rediscovered his priorities. Isn't this what we all seek? A life where we are not slaves to every whim of external circumstances, but masters of our inner world, focused on what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. Now, I ask you, what in your life would improve if you practiced the art of indifference? How many hours have you wasted worrying about things that, in hindsight, didn't matter at all? How often have you allowed someone else's behavior to dictate your mood or your day? The art of indifference, as the Stoics teach, is a path to reclaiming your power, redirecting your focus, and building a more resilient, balanced self. It's about cultivating a mindset where your happiness is not held hostage by external events or the opinions of others, but firmly rooted in your values and choices. Consider this a practice, a daily exercise. Start small. The next time something or someone threatens to upset you, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this within my control? Does this truly affect my core values or long-term goals? If not, let it go. Practice not caring about the trivial, and watch how much mental space and energy you free up for things that genuinely matter. Embracing the art of indifference is about mastering your own mind, not allowing external events to dictate your inner peace. It's about being mindful of where you direct your energy and emotions, and choosing not to be swayed by things beyond your control. By doing so, you empower yourself to live a life of purpose, clarity, and tranquility, embodying the Stoic wisdom that guides us toward true transformation. So, take this lesson to heart, practice it daily, and see how your life begins to change. Remember, as Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. By mastering the art of indifference, we choose to suffer less and live more fully. The choice is yours. Will you take control of your inner peace and transform yourself the Stoic way? 3. Develop a daily practice of self-reflection. Develop a daily practice of self-reflection. At first glance, this might sound like just another task on your already overflowing to-do list. But what if I told you that this simple practice could be the key to unlocking a deeper, more meaningful life? You see, the Stoics believed that self-reflection was not just a daily habit, but a vital tool for personal growth and transformation. It's about more than just looking back at your day. It's about examining your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions to understand yourself better and align more closely with your values. As Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This powerful quote reminds us that life is a journey of constant learning, and the most profound lessons often come from within. So why is self-reflection so important, and how can you make it a regular part of your life? Think about your daily routine for a moment. How much of it is spent on autopilot, just going through the motions without truly engaging with what's happening around you or inside you? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, to become so focused on achieving external success that we forget to look inward. But self-reflection offers a way to slow down, to pause and ask yourself, am I living the life I want to live? Are my actions in line with my values? Am I becoming the person I want to be? These are not easy questions, but they are essential for anyone seeking to grow and transform. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." This is an invitation to dig deep within yourself, to explore your inner world, and to find the strength and wisdom that resides there. But how do you start developing this practice of self-reflection? It begins with setting aside time each day to be still and think. This doesn't mean you need to spend hours in meditation or contemplation. Even just a few minutes each morning or evening can make a significant difference. You might start by asking yourself simple questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How did I handle my emotions? What could I have done differently? The goal is not to judge yourself harshly, but to observe your behavior with curiosity and a desire to learn. It's about understanding why you acted the way you did and considering how you might act differently in the future. This process of reflection can help you become more aware of your patterns, both positive and negative, and empower you to make conscious choices about how you want to live. Now, let's consider a modern example to illustrate the power of self-reflection. Imagine a successful entrepreneur named Lisa. Lisa has always been driven, working long hours to build her business from the ground up. But despite her success, she often feels unfulfilled and disconnected. She realizes that she's been so focused on her career that she's neglected her personal relationships and her own well-being. One day, a friend introduces her to the concept of self-reflection. At first, Lisa is skeptical. She's busy and doesn't think she has time for this. But she decides to give it a try. She starts by setting aside 10 minutes each night before bed to jot down her thoughts in a journal. At first, it feels awkward and forced, but slowly, she begins to notice patterns in her behavior and thoughts that she hadn't been aware of before. She realizes that her drive for success was partly fueled by a fear of failure and a desire for external validation. This realization is a turning point for Lisa. She begins to shift her focus from external achievements to internal fulfillment. She makes more time for her family, prioritizes her health, and starts a new hobby that brings her joy. Over time, she feels more balanced, content, and aligned with her values. Can you see how a simple practice of self-reflection can lead to profound change? It's not about becoming perfect or eliminating all negative traits, but about becoming more self-aware and making choices that reflect your true self. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that self-reflection helps us cultivate virtue and wisdom, allowing us to live more fully and authentically. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught that We cannot control the impressions others form about us, and the effort to do so only debases our character. This reminds us that our true power lies not in controlling external events or opinions, but in mastering ourselves, and self-reflection is the first step in this journey. So I ask you, what would your life look like if you made self-reflection a daily habit? How might your relationships, your career, and your sense of self change if you took just a few minutes each day to look inward? What insights might you gain about yourself, and how could those insights help you grow? The beauty of self-reflection is that it is accessible to everyone, regardless of age, status, or background. It doesn't require any special tools or training, just a willingness to be honest with yourself and a commitment to continuous improvement. By developing a daily practice of self-reflection, you open the door to personal transformation, to becoming the best version of yourself. Remember that self-reflection is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice. It is the key to personal growth and transformation, helping you navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and purpose. As you embark on this journey, remember the wisdom of Socrates, who said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Make a commitment today to examine your life, to reflect on your actions, and to strive to live in accordance with your highest values. The path to transformation begins with a single step. Will you take it? The choice is yours, and the time is now. 4. Cultivate emotional resilience through adversity. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. Seneca. Life, as we all know, is filled with challenges, whether it's the pressure of a demanding career, the strain of personal relationships, or the inevitable crises that catch us off guard. The Stoics believed that adversity is not something to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a necessary part of our growth and transformation. It's not about becoming hardened or indifferent, but about developing the inner strength to face life's storms with courage and clarity. As Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the very obstacles we face are not just obstacles. They are the path forward, the tools by which we forge our character and refine our spirit. Let's break down what this means in practical terms. Emotional resilience is the ability to maintain a calm and balanced mind amid life's difficulties. It's not about never feeling pain or distress, but learning to process these emotions in a healthy way that leads to personal growth, rather than allowing them to overwhelm or define you. Think of a man in his 40s who has just been passed over for a promotion. The initial reaction might be frustration, anger, or even a sense of defeat. However, instead of letting these feelings consume him, a Stoic approach would involve stepping back, observing these emotions, and asking, "What can I learn from this experience? How can I use this setback as an opportunity to improve myself?" This reflective process is the cornerstone of emotional resilience. By shifting the focus from the external event, the lost promotion, to internal development, he transforms adversity into a catalyst for growth. But how do you cultivate this kind of resilience? It begins with understanding that our perception of events often has more power over us than the events themselves. As Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things but by the views which they take of them. This insight reminds us that we have the power to choose how we interpret and respond to challenges. Rather than seeing adversity as a negative force, we can view it as a necessary trial, a test of our strength and determination. For example, consider the story of a small business owner facing bankruptcy. At first, the situation appears dire, a complete failure. Yet, through the lens of Stoicism, this event becomes an opportunity to reassess, to innovate, and to develop new strategies for success. It's a moment to build resilience by learning from the mistakes and finding new ways to move forward, stronger and wiser. In modern life, we are often bombarded with messages that suggest we should avoid discomfort and seek immediate gratification. But true emotional resilience comes from doing the opposite, from facing discomfort head-on, embracing challenges, and recognizing that the process of struggling and overcoming is what builds character. Take, for example, a man going through a painful divorce in his 50s. It's a period filled with emotional turmoil, grief, and perhaps even a sense of identity loss. Yet, by applying Stoic principles, he can navigate this storm by focusing on what he can control: his own actions, his responses, and his perspective. Instead of being paralyzed by regret or anger, he uses this time to reflect deeply on his life, to understand where things went wrong, and to commit to personal growth and self-improvement. This approach doesn't negate the pain, but transforms it into a powerful tool for personal development. To further illustrate, think about the metaphor of a tree facing a storm. The Stoics would tell us that it's not the tree with the shallow roots that survives the tempest, but the one that has deeply rooted itself into the ground. The same goes for us. Our emotional roots must be firmly planted in the principles of resilience, self-reflection, and a commitment to growth. Every storm, every challenge, is an opportunity to deepen those roots, to strengthen our resolve, and to emerge on the other side, not weaker, but stronger and more grounded. And as we do this, we also inspire others around us. When people see someone facing adversity with calmness, courage, and a willingness to learn, it becomes a powerful example that challenges are not the end of the road, but a chance to carve out a new path. So, how do we apply this in our daily lives? Start by practicing daily mindfulness and self-reflection. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review the challenges you faced and how you responded to them. Ask yourself, did I react with emotional resilience, or did I allow the situation to dictate my emotions? What could I have done differently to maintain my inner peace? Reflecting on these questions can help you better understand your emotional responses and identify areas for growth. Additionally, embrace the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate, as taught by Nietzsche, influenced by Stoic philosophy. This means not just accepting what happens to you, but loving it, recognizing that every experience, no matter how difficult, is an essential part of your journey and growth. This mindset allows you to face life's adversities with a sense of purpose and even gratitude. Cultivating emotional resilience through adversity is about much more than merely enduring hardships. It is about transforming those hardships into valuable lessons and opportunities for growth. It's about understanding that every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback, that every challenge carries within it the seeds of an even greater triumph. As you navigate the various trials of your life, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So the next time you find yourself in the midst of adversity, ask yourself, how will this experience shape me? Will it break me down, or will it build me up? The choice, as always, is yours. And as you continue to walk the Stoic path, may you find the courage, strength, and wisdom to transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Thank you so much for joining us in today's video. As we dive deeper into the principles of Stoicism, I'm curious, what do you think is the most challenging aspect of applying Stoic practices to everyday life? Have you tried any of the techniques we discussed, and how have they impacted you? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you're not sure what to write, feel free to share which Stoic principle resonates most with you, or simply ask a question about something you'd like to know more about. Your insights and stories could inspire others on their own Stoic journey. 5. Let go of attachments to outcomes. To truly disappear and transform yourself in the Stoic way, one of the fundamental principles you must embrace is the art of letting go of attachments to outcomes. Think about it. How often do we find ourselves entangled in the web of our own expectations? We plan, we hope, and we desperately cling to the belief that things must go our way, that our efforts must yield the exact results we desire. But the Stoics teach us that this attachment to outcomes is precisely what causes so much of our suffering, and prevents us from truly transforming ourselves. In this world, nothing is certain except change itself, and clinging to specific outcomes only makes us prisoners of our own desires. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom urges us to shift our focus from the external world, the realm of events we cannot control, to our internal world, where we always have the power to choose our response. Consider this. Every time you obsess over a particular outcome, you are essentially placing your happiness and sense of peace in the hands of fate, in circumstances you have no power over. What if, instead, you chose to direct your attention and energy toward what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, your attitudes? What if you allowed yourself the freedom to pursue your goals with full commitment, but without the need for a specific result? By doing so, you liberate yourself from the chains of expectation and open the door to a deeper sense of tranquility and resilience. This is not about giving up or being passive. Rather, it is about understanding that the only thing truly within your grasp is your own mindset. When you release your attachment to outcomes, you become like a calm, steady ship in a storm, undaunted by the turbulent waves, navigating with a sense of inner calm and purpose. This detachment is the key to your personal freedom and transformation. Let's pause for a moment and think about a scenario in our modern lives. Imagine a young entrepreneur who has poured her heart and soul into building her startup. She has invested all her savings, countless hours, and endless energy into this venture, believing that success will bring her happiness, fulfillment, and recognition. As the launch date approaches, she starts to feel the weight of her expectations. She becomes anxious, her mind filled with what-ifs. What if the product doesn't sell? What if the market doesn't respond as she hopes? Her entire sense of self-worth becomes tied to the success of this one outcome. But then she recalls the Stoic teaching. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. She decides to shift her mindset. Instead of obsessing over the result, she dedicates herself to the process, to doing her best every day, to learning and adapting, regardless of the outcome. In doing so, she frees herself from the suffocating grip of her expectations. She finds new joy in the journey, in the daily effort, and even in the failures that became lessons rather than setbacks. And whether her startup thrives or fails, she remains unshaken, grounded in the understanding that her worth is not dependent on a single outcome, but on her character and her ability to grow and learn. This shift in perspective not only transforms her approach to her business but also her entire outlook on life. Isn't this a powerful way to live? Instead of being tethered to a specific result, constantly anxious about whether things will turn out as planned, what if you allowed yourself to flow with life, to adapt and adjust with grace and wisdom? What would change in your life if you let go of your attachment to specific outcomes? This practice of detachment doesn't mean we should not set goals or strive for success. Quite the contrary, it means we should set our goals, pursue them with vigor and determination, but simultaneously understand that the outcome is not within our control, only our efforts are. This mindset not only alleviates unnecessary stress and anxiety, but also enhances our capacity to perform better, because our minds are free from the clutter of fear and doubt. Think about the last time you felt frustrated or disappointed because something didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a job interview that didn't lead to an offer, a relationship that didn't work out, or a project that didn't receive the recognition you hoped for. How did that attachment to the outcome affect your peace of mind? Did it make you feel powerless, anxious, or even bitter? Now, imagine facing the same situation with a Stoic mindset, accepting that the outcome is not up to you, only your preparation and effort are. How different would your experience have been? Could you have approached the situation with more calm, more grace, and perhaps even more courage? This brings us to a crucial lesson from Stoicism, the practice of amor fati, or loving one's fate. It's not just about accepting whatever happens, but embracing it as necessary and good. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs. This perspective invites us to see every event in our lives as an opportunity for growth and learning. When you let go of your attachment to outcomes, you start to see every moment, good or bad, as a valuable teacher. You become less reactive, more reflective, and far more resilient. Letting go of attachments to outcomes is about reclaiming your inner power, your inner peace. It's about understanding that life is a series of events, some within our control, most outside of it. Our task, as students of Stoicism, is to respond to these events with wisdom and equanimity, to act with virtue and integrity, regardless of what comes our way. This shift in perspective is not easy. It requires practice, self-awareness, and a willingness to let go of our ego-driven need for control. But the rewards are profound. A life lived with more peace, more freedom, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. So I ask you now, what are the outcomes you are clinging to? What expectations are weighing you down? How would your life change if you embraced the Stoic way of letting go, of focusing on your actions and allowing the results to be what they may be? This week, try practicing this principle in a small way. Maybe it's a conversation where you want a certain response or a task where you desire a specific result. Consciously choose to let go of the outcome and see how it changes your experience. You might just find that in letting go you gain so much more, a sense of peace, of clarity, and a newfound strength to navigate whatever life throws your way. Remember, the Stoic way is not about resignation. It's about transformation, and it begins with letting go. 6. Master the art of present moment awareness. To master the art of disappearing and transforming yourself in the Stoic way, one essential practice you must embrace is the art of present moment awareness. In our fast-paced world, how often do we find ourselves caught up in the constant noise of thoughts, worries, and distractions, perpetually living in the past or the future, rarely in the now? The Stoics teach us that true freedom and transformation begin with a profound awareness of the present moment. Consider the words of Marcus Aurelius, who said, "Confine yourself to the present." This is more than just a call to mindfulness. It's a radical shift in how we perceive and interact with the world around us. When you are fully present, you are no longer a prisoner of your past regrets or future anxieties. Instead, you engage with life as it unfolds, moment by moment, with clarity and purpose. This awareness is the key to unlocking a life of tranquility and inner strength, a life where you are no longer reacting to external events, but choosing your actions deliberately and wisely. Reflect for a moment on your daily life. How often do you find yourself ruminating over something that happened yesterday, or worrying about what might happen tomorrow? These thoughts pull you away from the present, from the only moment you truly have any control over. What if, instead of being lost in thought, you trained your mind to stay focused on what is right in front of you? This practice of present moment awareness is not just about paying attention, but about fully immersing yourself in whatever you are doing, whether it's having a conversation, working on a project, or simply enjoying a quiet moment. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, reminds us that people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. This insight urges us to examine how our thoughts about the past or future create unnecessary suffering. By bringing our awareness back to the present, we reclaim our power over our own minds and emotions. Now let me share a story from modern life that illustrates this principle beautifully. Think about a young professional juggling multiple responsibilities, a demanding job, personal goals, and relationships. Every day feels like a race against time, a never-ending checklist of tasks and deadlines. One day she realizes that despite all her efforts, she feels disconnected, constantly stressed and unhappy. She decides to explore the teachings of Stoicism and stumbles upon the concept of present moment awareness. She starts small, dedicating a few minutes each day to practice being fully present, during her morning coffee, on her walk to work, even in meetings. She begins to notice a shift. The tasks that once felt overwhelming now seem more manageable. Her stress begins to diminish as she stops worrying about what's next and focuses on doing her best in the here and now. She starts listening more attentively, engaging more deeply, and finds a new sense of peace and fulfillment in her daily routines. She understands that her power lies not in controlling the future, but in how she approaches the present. This shift transforms her experience of life, from one of constant struggle to one of mindful engagement. Can you see how this approach could change your own life? How might your daily experiences transform if you were more present, more aware, and more engaged in each moment? Instead of letting your mind wander into the regrets of yesterday or the uncertainties of tomorrow, what if you anchored yourself in the present, fully immersing yourself in whatever you're doing right now? The practice of present moment awareness isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about choosing to show up for your life moment by moment with a calm mind and an open heart. This doesn't mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It means acknowledging them without letting them dominate your thoughts or dictate your actions. Consider how much energy you spend each day dwelling on things you cannot change or control. What if you redirected that energy into fully experiencing the present? By focusing on the here and now, you gain a greater sense of control over your life. You begin to see things more clearly, make decisions more confidently, and handle challenges with greater ease. Seneca, a renowned Stoic thinker, wisely observed, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This statement is a powerful reminder that contentment is found not in the endless pursuit of future goals, but in appreciating the present moment for what it is, a unique and irreplaceable point in time. When you are truly present, you become more attuned to your inner wisdom and more capable of making choices that align with your values and true self. Think about the last time you were fully present. Perhaps it was during a meaningful conversation, while watching a beautiful sunset, or maybe when you were so absorbed in a task that time seemed to disappear. How did that feel? How did it differ from those moments when your mind was racing with thoughts, worries, or distractions? How often do we miss out on the richness of life simply because we are not present to it? The Stoic practice of present moment awareness invites us to slow down and savor the here and now, to appreciate the beauty of each moment as it comes and goes. Letting go of distractions and being present doesn't mean you stop planning or dreaming about the future. It simply means you stop living there. You bring your attention back to where life is actually happening. You realize that your power lies in how you respond to this moment, not in trying to control the next. This practice requires discipline and commitment, but the rewards are immeasurable. A clearer mind, a more peaceful heart, and a deeper connection to the world around you. By mastering the art of present moment awareness, you cultivate a sense of inner calm and resilience that enables you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and strength. So I encourage you to ask yourself, how often are you truly present in your daily life? What would change if you approached each day with a greater sense of awareness and intention? This week, I challenge you to practice being fully present in one small area of your life. Maybe it's during a meal, a conversation, or a simple task. Notice how this practice affects your experience and your state of mind. Remember, the Stoic way is about living in harmony with nature, and there is nothing more natural than being fully present for the unfolding of your own life. Embrace this practice and watch as you begin to transform, not by disappearing into the future or the past, but by becoming more fully alive in the present moment. By mastering the art of present moment awareness, you open yourself to a richer, more fulfilling existence, where each moment is an opportunity for growth, understanding, and genuine connection. 7. Reframe negative thoughts and emotions. Have you ever felt weighed down by your own thoughts, trapped in a cycle of negativity that seems impossible to break? Many men find themselves wrestling with the same inner demons, fighting battles within that nobody else can see. But what if I told you that the Stoic way offers a powerful method to transform those negative thoughts and emotions into a source of strength? This method is about learning to reframe how we perceive our challenges, shifting from a mindset of suffering to one of opportunity and growth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This wisdom speaks directly to the heart of Stoicism. The idea that it's not the external events or circumstances that disturb us, but how we interpret and respond to them. When you begin to master the art of reframing your thoughts, you unlock the potential to transform not only your mindset but your entire life. Let's delve into this concept more deeply. What does it mean to reframe negative thoughts and emotions? In simple terms, it means changing the way you think about what happens to you. Life is full of challenges, financial struggles, career setbacks, relationship issues, health concerns. It's easy to fall into a pattern of thinking that these obstacles are insurmountable, that they are proof of failure or reason to give up. However, the Stoics teach us to view these challenges differently. They are not curses, but opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow stronger, to become more resilient. Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote is a call to action, urging us to take control of our responses rather than being controlled by them. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If yes, then take action. If no, then adjust your mindset. Accept it, learn from it, and move forward with renewed purpose. Consider this. Every negative thought or emotion you experience is like a wave crashing on the shore. You can either let it knock you down, pulling you under, or you can learn to surf it, riding it to gain new perspectives and insights. This is not to say that we should suppress or ignore our emotions. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge them, to understand where they come from, and then to decide how we will respond. For example, if you are feeling anger or frustration, don't just react impulsively. Take a moment to pause and reflect. What is the source of this anger? Is it something outside your control, like another person's actions or a situation you cannot change? If so, recognize the futility of holding on to that anger. As Seneca wisely noted, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." By reframing your thoughts, you begin to see that holding on to negative emotions only adds to your suffering, while letting go opens up space for peace and clarity. Let's bring this into a modern context. Think about a scenario in your own life: a difficult boss, a failing business venture, or a strained relationship. It's natural to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or even defeated. But instead of allowing these feelings to consume you, what if you tried to reframe them? For instance, if your business is struggling, instead of seeing it as a failure, view it as a learning experience, a chance to refine your strategy, to become more adaptable and innovative. If you're dealing with a tough boss, rather than seeing it as a personal attack, see it as an opportunity to develop patience, to practice effective communication, and to strengthen your resolve. In every situation, there is a lesson to be learned, a skill to be developed, a virtue to be practiced. When you start to see your challenges as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, you begin to cultivate a mindset of resilience and growth. This shift in perspective does not come overnight. It requires conscious effort and practice. Start by paying attention to your internal dialogue. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and challenge that thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hindering me? Is it based on reality or on fear and speculation? Then, actively choose to reframe it. Turn "I am failing" into "I am learning." Turn "this is too hard" into "this is an opportunity to grow stronger." By doing so, you gradually rewire your brain to approach life's challenges with a more positive and proactive mindset. Remember the words of Epictetus. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. This statement captures the essence of Stoic philosophy. Our power lies not in changing the world, but in changing how we see and respond to it. Incorporating this Stoic practice into your life doesn't just make you more resilient, it also makes you a better leader, a better partner, and a better friend. When you approach life's challenges with a calm, clear mind, You are better able to make rational decisions, to lead with integrity, and to support others in their own journeys. You become a source of strength and inspiration for those around you, demonstrating through your actions that it is possible to face adversity with grace and dignity. And as you cultivate this inner strength, you begin to transform not just your own life, but the lives of those around you. So ask yourself, how do you currently handle negative thoughts and emotions? Do you let them control you, or do you take control of them? How might your life change if you started to view every challenge as an opportunity for growth? This week, try to practice reframing your thoughts in small, everyday situations. Notice how this shift in perspective affects your mood, your actions, and your interactions with others. Over time, you'll find that by mastering the art of reframing, you not only transform your own mind, but also your entire approach to life. You'll realize that disappearing from the grip of negativity doesn't mean avoiding life's challenges, but facing them head-on with a renewed sense of purpose and a clear, calm mind. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And with this strength, you can truly transform yourself, living with greater peace, resilience, and fulfillment. If you've made it this far, you're truly committed to the Stoic path of transformation. Drop a comment saying, "I choose to transform," to show you're ready to embrace this journey of self-discovery and growth. Stay tuned because the journey is just beginning. 8. Cultivate a virtuous inner circle. To truly disappear and transform yourself in the Stoic way, one of the most profound actions you can take is to cultivate a virtuous inner circle. Look around you. Who are the people you spend most of your time with? Are they lifting you up, encouraging your growth, and challenging you to be the best version of yourself? Or do they drain your energy, feed your fears, and keep you stuck in old patterns? The Stoics understood the immense power of influence, recognizing that the company we keep has a significant impact on our character and our actions. As Epictetus famously said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This is not just about avoiding negative influences. It's about actively seeking out those who embody the virtues you aspire to: courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice. When you surround yourself with individuals who live with integrity and purpose, you are more likely to mirror these qualities in your own life. Think for a moment about the people in your life. How many of them inspire you to be better? How many challenge you to think deeply, to act justly, and to live with honor? This is what cultivating a virtuous inner circle is all about, being intentional about who you allow into your inner world. It's about understanding that transformation requires support, guidance, and sometimes a little tough love from those who truly care about your growth. Imagine being part of a group that values personal development and self-mastery, where each member is committed to becoming the best version of themselves. This kind of environment naturally encourages you to rise to your highest potential. As Seneca once advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This is a call to action to be selective with your friendships, to prioritize quality over quantity, and to understand that your inner circle is a reflection of your own values and aspirations. Let's consider a story from modern life that highlights the power of a virtuous inner circle. Think of a young man named David, who has always been surrounded by friends who were more interested in partying and wasting time than in pursuing meaningful goals. For years, David felt a nagging dissatisfaction, a sense that he was not living up to his potential. One day, he decided to make a change. He began seeking out individuals who were driven, focused, and dedicated to personal growth. He joined a local Stoicism group, started attending workshops, and slowly built a network of like-minded individuals who valued self-discipline, wisdom, and purpose. Over time, David noticed a profound shift in his life. His new friends challenged him to think critically, to push his boundaries, and to take responsibility for his actions. With their support, he started his own business, adopted healthier habits, and began living a life that was more aligned with his values. David's transformation wasn't just a result of his own efforts. It was the result of the company he chose to keep. His story is a testament to the power of surrounding yourself with a virtuous inner circle. Now ask yourself, who are the people you are allowing into your life? Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? How might your life change if you surround yourself with individuals who are committed to personal excellence and moral integrity? The truth is, we become like those we spend the most time with. If you want to transform yourself, start by transforming your inner circle. Seek out mentors who can guide you, friends who will support you, and peers who will challenge you. Remember, this doesn't mean abandoning those who are struggling or less virtuous. It means being mindful of how much influence you allow them to have over you. It's about setting boundaries and ensuring that your closest relationships are with those who reflect the values you wish to embody. Think about the last time you felt truly inspired or motivated. Was it because of something you did alone, or was it in the company of others who pushed you to go further, to be better? This is the power of a virtuous inner circle. When you are surrounded by people who are committed to growth and virtue, you are constantly reminded of your own potential. You are encouraged to strive for excellence, to live with integrity, and to be true to yourself. This doesn't mean your journey will be easy. On the contrary, a virtuous inner circle will often challenge you to face uncomfortable truths and to confront your own limitations. But it is precisely through these challenges that you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Consider also the benefits of mutual accountability. When you have a group of individuals who hold each other accountable for their actions, you create a powerful support system that encourages continuous growth and improvement. If you know that your friends and mentors expect you to live up to your values, you are more likely to stay committed to your path. As Marcus Aurelius noted, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This is an invitation to action, to stop talking about virtue and start living it. And the best way to do this is to surround yourself with others who are on the same journey. So, how do you begin to cultivate a virtuous inner circle? Start by being clear about your own values and the qualities you want to embody. Seek out individuals who reflect these qualities, whether through community groups, professional networks, or even online forums dedicated to personal growth and stoicism. Be proactive in building these relationships. Reach out, engage in meaningful conversations, and offer your own support and encouragement. Remember that a virtuous inner circle is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about finding people who are committed to the journey of self-improvement just like you. As you reflect on your own inner circle, consider this. What steps can you take today to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you? How can you contribute to creating a community that values growth, virtue, and integrity? The journey of transformation is not one you have to take alone. By cultivating a virtuous inner circle, you create a foundation of support, wisdom, and accountability that will help you navigate life's challenges with greater strength and resilience. In the words of Epictetus, we become what we repeatedly do. Surround yourself with those who are committed to becoming the best versions of themselves, and you will find yourself doing the same. This is how you disappear from the noise of negativity and mediocrity and transform into a person of true virtue and purpose. 9. Practice voluntary discomfort. To truly disappear and transform yourself in the Stoic way, it's crucial to understand the power of practicing voluntary discomfort. At first glance, this idea might sound counterintuitive. Why would anyone choose discomfort when comfort is so readily available in our modern world? Yet this is exactly where the transformative power of Stoicism comes into play. Practicing voluntary discomfort is about building mental and emotional resilience by intentionally stepping out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself to endure what most would shy away from. The Stoics believed that by regularly putting ourselves in situations that test our patience, strength, and self-control, we can prepare our minds for the inevitable hardships of life. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that things are difficult." This profound statement invites us to see that it's our avoidance of discomfort, not the discomfort itself, that often limits our growth and transformation. Think about it. Every day, we are presented with countless opportunities to avoid discomfort. We opt for the elevator instead of the stairs. We choose the quick fix meal over cooking something healthy. We avoid difficult conversations for fear of conflict. But what if, instead of seeking the easy way out, you made a conscious decision to embrace challenges, to face discomfort head-on? This doesn't mean putting yourself in harm's way or engaging in reckless behavior. Rather, it's about recognizing that true growth comes from testing your limits and pushing beyond what feels easy or safe. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously advised, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Here, Marcus is reminding us that obstacles and discomfort are not just barriers, they are opportunities to build strength and resilience. By choosing to engage with them voluntarily, we transform these challenges into powerful tools for personal growth. Consider a modern-day example, a man named Alex who feels stuck in his career and life. He realizes that he's been avoiding challenges and choosing the path of least resistance for far too long. Inspired by Stoic teachings, he decides to incorporate voluntary discomfort into his daily routine. He starts waking up an hour earlier to exercise, despite the initial discomfort of getting out of bed. He takes cold showers to build mental toughness and learns to face the discomfort of the cold with a calm mind. At work, he challenges himself to speak up in meetings, even when he's afraid of being judged. Over time, Alex notices that these small acts of embracing discomfort begin to accumulate. He feels more confident, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws his way. His perspective shifts, and what once seemed insurmountable now feels like just another step in his journey of growth. Alex's story illustrates that by choosing voluntary discomfort, we train ourselves to handle real adversity with grace and strength. Have you ever thought about how much of your life is shaped by your desire to avoid discomfort? What if you decided to do the opposite, to lean into those uncomfortable moments instead? Think about how different your life might be if, instead of shying away from challenges, you embrace them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. Practicing voluntary discomfort teaches us to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's about developing the inner fortitude to withstand life's inevitable hardships with a steady mind and a courageous heart. This practice isn't about making life unnecessarily hard. It's about preparing yourself for the times when life will inevitably be hard. As Epictetus, another Stoic sage, put it, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." This powerful insight reminds us that it's through our struggles that we discover our true strength and character. Think back to a time when you faced a significant challenge. Maybe it was a tough decision at work, a personal loss, or a moment of failure. How did you handle it? Did you avoid the discomfort, or did you face it head-on? Now consider how you might approach similar challenges in the future if you regularly practiced voluntary discomfort. What if, instead of fearing failure, you learned to see it as a stepping stone toward growth? What if you could transform anxiety into calmness through disciplined practice? The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It doesn't ask us to deny our humanity or pretend that we don't feel pain, fear, or frustration. Instead, it encourages us to build a mindset that sees these emotions not as enemies but as allies in our quest for self-mastery. Picture starting your day by choosing one small act of discomfort, a cold shower, a rigorous workout, or a challenging conversation you've been avoiding. Each of these acts is a training ground for your mind, teaching you that discomfort is not something to fear, but something to be embraced. When you voluntarily step into discomfort, you are telling yourself that you are stronger than your fears and more resilient than your doubts. This practice builds a profound inner confidence that cannot be easily shaken by the ups and downs of life. It's about realizing that you have the power to control your responses, no matter the circumstances. As the ancient Stoics believed, true freedom comes from within, from mastering one's own mind, emotions, and reactions. How might your life change if you began to see discomfort not as a threat, but as a teacher? How could this shift in perspective help you build greater resilience, courage, and inner peace? The Stoics teach us that by practicing voluntary discomfort, we are preparing ourselves for the real challenges of life. It's not about making things difficult for the sake of difficulty. It's about understanding that every challenge faced is a step closer to becoming the best version of ourselves. Remember the words of Epictetus. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you learn to desire less, to be content with less, and to find peace in the simplicity of a life lived with purpose and virtue. So, I challenge you. What is one area of your life where you can start practicing voluntary discomfort today? Maybe it's waking up earlier, starting a new exercise regimen, cutting out a bad habit, or taking on a project that scares you. Start small and build from there. Notice how these small, daily acts of courage begin to change your mindset, your behavior, and your overall outlook on life. By making discomfort a regular part of your routine, you are not only preparing yourself for the inevitable hardships that life will throw at you, but also strengthening your character and enhancing your capacity to live a fulfilling, meaningful life. The path to transformation is not easy, but it is simple. Face discomfort head-on, learn from it, and use it as fuel to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This is how you disappear from the complacency and comfort that hold so many back, and instead, transform yourself into a person of true strength and virtue, living life with courage, purpose, and peace. 10. Reflect on your mortality to live fully. Let's begin with a question that might feel uncomfortable, but is essential for your transformation. How often do you think about your mortality? The idea of reflecting on our mortality might seem morbid at first, but it's a powerful tool for living fully and purposefully. The Stoics believe that by keeping our mortality in mind, we are reminded of the preciousness of each moment, encouraging us to live more intentionally. As Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't about fostering fear. It's about cultivating a sense of urgency and clarity. When you truly grasp the finite nature of your existence, you are more likely to focus on what really matters, your values, your relationships, your purpose. By embracing the inevitability of death, you free yourself from the trivial worries and distractions that often consume our daily lives. Reflecting on mortality doesn't mean being obsessed with death or living in fear. Instead, it's about understanding that life is fleeting and that every moment is an opportunity to grow, to love, to make a difference. Consider the modern world we live in, where distractions are everywhere. Social media, endless news cycles, the constant pressure to keep up with everyone else. These distractions can easily make us lose sight of what's truly important. However, when you remind yourself that your time is limited, you begin to prioritize differently. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your values, and you start focusing on what brings meaning and fulfillment. Think about it. How would your life change if you lived every day as if it could be your last? Would you spend less time worrying about what others think? Would you take more risks? Would you express your feelings more openly and pursue your dreams more fiercely? Let's consider a story that brings this concept to life. Take John, a successful businessman in his mid-40s who spent years chasing career achievements, accumulating wealth, and building a reputation. But despite his success, he felt a lingering emptiness, a sense that something was missing. One day, after a close friend's sudden passing, John was struck by the fragility of life. He began reflecting on his mortality and realized that he had been living on autopilot, caught up in a relentless pursuit of more money, more recognition, more stuff, without truly living. Inspired by Stoic teachings, he decided to make a change. John began practicing memento mori, a Latin phrase meaning, "Remember, you must die." He started each day by reminding himself that his time on earth is limited, and he used this awareness to guide his actions. He reconnected with loved ones, took time to enjoy simple pleasures, pursued a long-forgotten passion for painting, and started giving back to his community. By reflecting on his mortality, John transformed his approach to life, finding deeper joy, purpose, and fulfillment in the things that truly mattered to him. So how can reflecting on your mortality help you live more fully? It begins by acknowledging that death is not something to be feared, but a natural part of life. The Stoics encourage this reflection not to depress us, but to liberate us from the fear of the unknown. When you accept that death is inevitable, you stop taking life for granted. You start to see each day as a gift, a chance to be your best self, to make a positive impact, to grow and learn. This perspective shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do have, from scarcity to abundance. You begin to appreciate the small moments, the people around you, the opportunities that come your way. You become less attached to material possessions and more invested in experiences and relationships. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Reflecting on our mortality reminds us not to waste our time, but to make every second count. Consider how this practice could look in your everyday life. Instead of getting caught up in petty arguments or holding grudges, you might choose to forgive more easily, recognizing that life is too short for resentment. Instead of postponing your dreams or waiting for the right moment, you might take action now, knowing that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Instead of living in fear or regret, you might embrace a mindset of gratitude and courage, willing to take risks and make the most of every opportunity. This shift in perspective isn't about becoming reckless. It's about becoming intentional. It's about understanding that the quality of your life is determined by the choices you make today, not by the chances you hope for in the future. Reflecting on mortality is also a powerful tool for dealing with stress and anxiety. When faced with challenges, ask yourself, will this matter when I'm on my deathbed? More often than not, the answer will be no. This simple question helps put things into perspective, allowing you to let go of unnecessary stress and focus on what truly matters. It reminds you that most of the things we worry about are temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. By keeping your mortality in mind, you learn to prioritize peace of mind over the chaos of the world. You become more centered, more focused, and more resilient in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. So, I ask you now, how often do you reflect on your own mortality? How might your life change if you started each day with the awareness that your time is limited? This week, I challenge you to practice memento mori. Begin each morning by acknowledging that you are not guaranteed tomorrow. Use this awareness to guide your actions and decisions throughout the day. Notice how this shift in perspective affects your behavior, your relationships, and your overall sense of well-being. Remember, the goal is not to live in fear, but to live with purpose, clarity, and gratitude. By reflecting on your mortality, you open yourself up to a deeper, more meaningful existence. You learn to appreciate the beauty of life in all its fleeting moments. You become more present, more compassionate, more alive. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Let this be a reminder that the greatest tragedy is not death itself, but failing to live fully while we are here. Embrace the Stoic practice of reflecting on your mortality, and you will find that it doesn't lead to despair, but to a richer, more vibrant life, filled with purpose and joy. This is the path to true transformation, the Stoic way. As we wrap up this journey on how to disappear and transform yourself the Stoic way, I want to remind you that real change starts from within. By integrating these Stoic practices into your daily life, embracing solitude, practicing indifference to what you cannot control, engaging in daily self-reflection, building emotional resilience, and letting go of attachments to outcomes, you are taking the first steps towards profound personal growth and a deeper understanding of yourself. These aren't just abstract ideas, they are actionable steps that can help you lead a more meaningful, resilient, and fulfilled life. Remember, transformation is a lifelong journey that requires dedication, introspection, and the courage to face our inner truths. So, why not start today? Reflect on how you can apply these principles to your life right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What steps are you planning to take? Share your ideas in the comments below. If you found today's discussion valuable, please like the video, share it with others who might find it helpful, and subscribe to our channel, Stoic in Your Life, for more content on mastering the art of Stoicism. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's continue to walk this path of growth and transformation together, guided by the enduring wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.